I'm sometimes called upon as rabbi to intervene in family situations where intermarriage is causing friction. Now, some intermarriages work out just fine. If each partner knows what to expect and they are honest about their concerns, it's possible to live in a house with two faiths. My personal view is that it's better to have one faith in the home, but I can't categorically state that other situations can't work out. But even when an intermarriage itself is a healthy relationship, the larger and extended relationships with the family can be difficult to manage. Jewish parents can feel betrayed by the choices that their adult children have made, and they may say or do things that further complicate their relationship with their children, even as they struggle themselves to accept their choices. As a conservative rabbi, the issue of intermarriage is for me a double-edged challenge, because I am prohibited by our movement to even attend, let alone officiate at an intermarriage. I run the risk of alienating many Jews and their potential spouses. When something like 70% of non-Orthodox Jews marry outside of the Jewish community, that may be the same percentage of Jews that my inability or refusal to do their weddings hurts. At the same time, because our movement recognizes that weddings between Jews and non-Jews are increasing and common, and even socially accepted, we want to be able to confront the reality of our situation, and then we want to be able to respond with love and caring, inviting the Jewish partner in intermarried couples to become members of our shuls and to enroll their kids in our religious schools as appropriate. We want to do all that we can to keep the Jewish spouse in the fold, to keep their kids in our movement, and to encourage conversion of the non-Jewish spouse when that is appropriate. We can see how these two approaches, one before the day of the wedding and one after the day of the wedding, are certainly in tension with one another. We tell couples that we are opposed to what they are doing by refusing to officiate at the wedding, but that if they do it anyway, we would love to have them as members of synagogues. This is not a new problem. Jews in every age have struggled with the conflict between their faith and community on the one hand and their personal choices on the other, both in marriage and in many other spheres. That's why in this week's Parsha, Abraham and his servant go to such lengths to find a suitable wife for Abraham's son Isaac. They want to ensure that the new nation that Abraham is establishing is as homogeneous as possible, excluding potential spouses that might detract from the covenant that Abraham, Sarah, and God have established together. But if you think that it's hard to find a Jewish spouse now, just put yourself in Abraham's position. There are no Jewish women for Isaac to marry. The only Jewish woman up to that point had been Isaac's mother, Abraham's wife, Sarah, and she's just died. So Abraham does the next best thing to finding a woman who's already a Jew. He sends his servant back to their home country to find a blood relative, one who will complement Isaac personally and who will help to fulfill the sacred covenant that Abraham and Sarah have begun. The woman they find, Rebekah, is in many ways the perfect wife for Isaac. She's kind, she's beautiful, and she later shows herself to be forceful and decisive when she needs to be. But her most important attribute may be that she is willing to enter into this family and to fulfill its destiny. Abraham's servant goes looking for someone who shares the same values and will continue to establish the same relationship with God that Abraham and Sarah did. Just as Sarah had come into the covenant with God as an adult, so does Rebekah. No one would argue that Rebekah is any less Jewish than Sarah or any of her many, many descendants. So one lesson we might take from this parsha is that while arguing for marrying within the faith is not a slap at non-Jews, it is a positive value, it is an attempt at the same kind of continuity of religious and cultural norms at the same time that intermarriage in America is not the death knell for Judaism in America. Rebecca becomes the second matriarch by freely choosing to become one of the family. She shows the same faith in God that Sarah did, and she is rewarded for that faith by being the second link in a chain that reaches all the way down to our own time. There may be no better way to avoid the double-edged problems than we face than to face them squarely when it comes to intermarriage. Our best bet may indeed be to continue to argue against it before the fact, but to accept it after the fact, welcoming in intermarriage with as much love, respect, and kindness that we possibly can. Many of them are willing to take part in our covenant, either by converting themselves or by raising their children as Jews so that they may do so. Given the statistics, that's probably not a bad deal. And encouraging raising Jewish children in intermarried families may be the best way to ensure a Jewish future in our time. From Congregation Beth Judea, Shabbat Shalom.